Hello. Okay. Hi, everybody. A lot of you are here. Importance of the technical art in game development. So, quickly, who I am? I am Maciej Zamorka-Klimaszewski. Okay. But you can call me Macy. It's much shorter, and probably you would break your tongue with my that long name. Last. Okay, I'm a 3D technical generalist, and what 3D generalist, 3D technical generalists do? The same things as 3D generalists, but with more technical aspects like optimization of the meshes, optimization of the shaders, writing tools for more optimization of the meshes, and etc. etc. Well, I have a artistic background. I am like a 3D artist, and I always love technical aspects. Like I always wanted to learn programming, and you know this pushed me to make this speech, and also my wife. But she is very convincing with that, so you know. Okay, the most important thing probably one of you have is who is actually technical generalist. Well, to put it simply, technical generalists are artists who programs. That means they usually refer at the white cross of the industry because if you can find 3D artists who can, for example, write Python scripts for Blender, this is like a blessing in the skies, because usually artists don't want to do this. They only artistic things want to do. And that thing creates like a opportunity for the game development. What concretely? Their strong background in art and programming skills make them much more allows them to combine artistic sensitivity with the technical knowledge, and this is very important for the couple of the reasons. But let's see about the brief background check of the technical artist. Also mention like an origin story. So, technical artists usually comes from the various backgrounds, you can see here 3D modeling, and they are usually in roles as 3D generalists like myself, and environmental artists too. Because they are like a very much, they have like a background and experience in the 3D modeling software. They can understand like a 3D creation pipeline, and also, as you can see, they can understand 3D package well, like Blender, Maya, etc., etc. And you know, experience with 3D meshes, modeling, everything makes them very good in optimizing meshes. Okay, another background is the animation, and due to them making animation themselves, they can easily predict what kind of challenges animators have, and usually they ideal for the technical animators. Okay, another one, VFXs, and this is like the most, if you like searching for the tech artist job, usually they searching someone from the VFXs. And usually guys from VFXs are familiar with the Shuriken or Niagara particle systems. And usually they know like Houdini and the newest hot stuff, Ember Gen. Okay. Another background is the 2D UI. And in there you have they have knowledge of designing interfaces, designing patterns in the UI. They usually like familiar with the Photoshop or Unity Canvas systems. And as you can see, they are ideal for creating good-looking and optimized UI, because if you try to press button, there must be response. And shaders, another very important role for the technical artists, is they are very familiar with languages like HLSLs, GLSLs, or shader graphs. Like in Unity, or thank God in Unity we have shader graphs, and with Unreal Engine. And due to their knowledge of the shaders and artistic feeling, they can obviously create inventive and optimized shaders. Okay, another one is the lighting. And as a lighting artist, they have a very big experience in the principles of lighting, like where you how to put the players to make them go a certain way or discourage them from going a certain way. And they have a understanding of creating a lighting setup, and obviously they are familiar with the lighting principles, lighting settings with the game engines. Okay, so are technical artists jack of all trades or Swiss knife? What they actually do? Okay, the main goal of technical artists are ensuring visuals run smoothly on gaming platforms while preserving game style. This is a very obviously basic thing. What they can do in the game creation process? They can, for example, with the game content, they can creating optimized and easy to integrate assets into a game. Usually they can do this by the hand or like procedural stuff. They can obviously rigging, skinning characters, creatures for animation. So if you have animators who hate rigging or skinning, obviously they hate it. Just throw it on the tech artist. They will be very grateful. Okay, and another thing is procedural assets to speed up development. This is including creation of the tools like procedural trees, procedural scattering of the assets, etc., etc. It can gradually help you with the game, with the speed of the game process. Okay. Another thing is the automation. Automation is another very important thing for the technical artists. They can automate various tedious tasks. This is very helpful because when you have a lot of manual tasks, you introduce a lot of you can introduce a lot of possible places for human error, and this can be very bad, obviously, because at the end of the day you must change a lot of things. And with the automation, you have with this production, you have more control over how fast and how efficient the work began. So this is intertwined with the creation of the scripts, like in the Python. Python is a good starting point when you trying to write scripts. You can do a lot of with the Python, automate in the Blender. You can automate a lot of stuff with the 3ds Max also, or write tools to create seamless work between some of the softwares. but I will speak about it later. Uh, you can streamline, as I said before, you can streamline work between different softwares. Like you creating like a base meshes, artists creating base meshes of the Blender or other software of use, and they need to like sculpt something in ZBrush or 3D Code. They send it. They have like this plugin which was written before. They just like press single button to send it to the ZBrush. They make everything they wanted, send it back to Blender, and like you didn't have to like export everything on the file and risk some loss of the information between those softwares. Okay. So another work technical artists can do is like streamline the game creation pipeline, and this is why they like usually work closely with the game programmers, because you know they are in the game architecture, and like some of us know like programmers are very strict about the architecture, you know. Okay. And in this place, they like making sure those assets are optimized, are not like you have, for example, a bottle of water, which is a very small asset, and like 30,000 trees, very expensive, and like 4 shaders right there. Like this is obviously not optimized asset. And technical artists can ensure that like those assets are optimized as well. And if there is like a need, they can do like a program export exporter tools. Like for example, in Unity you have like a Lifesaver FBX exporting tool, which can create, which can export prefabs, materials, textures, everything you want, and it's very easier to work with that. Okay, file structure. This is a very important, also important thing. They like creating file structures. For example, like you have some folders like materials, and inside them you have obviously materials, but you have like prefixes, suffixes, like this, like M for material, and for example, if you have like translucent material, they can add or automatically add like translucent material, or else like they can create file structures to make everything more structured and sorted out. Okay. Very important role for the technical artists are being bridge between programmers and artists. Why? Because when they have like an artistic background and they can program stuff, obviously they can they know technology. So they can understand both worlds more efficiently. They can like identify areas on improvement, listen to the programmers, what they need, what they want, translate it as for artists to understand, and the other way around, translate needs and everything artists want to have, translate it to the programmees, and send it back to the programmers. With this, they are like invaluable help for the leads to communicate with each other. Okay. So, we arrive on the sad word of obligatory optimization, like, you know. Usually, optimization comes much later with the project, and obviously it's not good. Okay, technical artists need to optimize stuff because, like, this is their like main goal. Like you can saw in the previous slides. They need like within the 3D you have to optimize meshes, in the animation you have optimize, you have in the VFXs you have to optimize and ensure everything runs smoothly. And because no matter how beautiful game looks or how innovative and technology advanced your game is, if it's run like a potato on the medium settings on the PC, for example, it's not going to make players happy. So, introduce of optimization at the very beginning of production saves time in the long run. Okay. Tools don't make the artists. You probably want to have like a question, why technical artists write tools when programmers can do the same? Okay, let me explain. As they know like a technical stuff and artistic stuff, they obviously can understand what artist needs from the programs, from the scripts, what they need to do, and he can tailor and develop the exact things the artists need or don't think they need. And that's it. And for example, I can give an example when you have tech artists can like a program the tool, which make like procedural light post with like cables, everything like procedural light, and make something random, and you have like a expose to the level artist some controls to make everything look different and tweakable. It allows level artists to focus himself on artistic stuff and not making assets themselves by hand with all the variations, you know, the drill. And this like a very is greatly reduced risk of mental breakdown for the artist team. Okay, so what programs usually tech artists do? Well, I can say like it depends because they have like a very broad range of the backgrounds. So like they can use like a 3D Max, Blender, Houdini, Substance Designer, ZBrush. This is very depends, and but I can like say they can like use programming language like Python. It's very good for automation, as I say. Like C# when you work with the Unity and you need like tools in that game engine, C++ or visual scripting when you're using like Unreal Engine. And eventually Vex, if you are like a Houdini fanatics, which I am. Okay, and we cannot obviously forget about the game engines like Unreal Engine and Unity. They are like the two main workhorses and most popular, so I mention it. Okay, how to awaken the technical artist in yourself? It's a very good question, and the answer is simple. Be lazy. This may be very counterproductive, but let me explain. You can find like activity that is very boring, tedious, repetitive, and it's very like a prone to the human error, and you just automate it. What I have like an example. Once on a time, I have like the Opti tool. This is like the tool we have like. There was a time we have to optimize 100 in the preview. It not work that I have right now in the later works. We have like the one time when our CEO goes into our place where we work, and he very happily said, "Okay, we should like optimize all level X, and we came on that level, and it appears like we have to to optimize every mesh, and there was like a 2,000, 3,000 meshes to optimize by hand. We didn't have any like the automating tools, no, and like everybody just dropped everything, and okay, let's do this, let's optimize it. So I have like a creating tool for Blender that quickly optimize stuff. It can like quickly make LOD systems. It can also decimate all meshes with the UVs without destroying them, and they can assign certain names for it. So when you import it back to the Unity, you have automatically LOD group component. Obviously, it speed up work from like 3 or 4 meshes by day to 20. So, yeah. Okay. If you want to check it out, there is like my QR to my YouTube channel where there is like a presentation of that tool, and also like I am planning to add some stuff for it. So feel free to scan it or subscribe or watch it. So, summary. This will be me for the some time after we ended. So you can really see like technical artists are very important for the game development. You can obviously have a speed up your work development if you like know where to search. Usually technical artists are very hard to find. When you like found in your team somebody that like works in art and also writes own programs, I think it's a very good practice to find that person and invest in him or she probably, because it can really benefit in the long run. And with the big growth of the AI and everything else, like there is the need of the technical artists are like growing, and it won't be ending soon. So in the very simple words, possibilities go beyond the ceiling and you live in the forest. Yeah, thank you. There is... Thank you for bearing with me through this presentation. I hope I don't bore you. There is contact for me. You can find me on the link lead, send me a message if this presentation is good. Also, if this isn't good. Yeah, questions?
Okay, do we have any questions?
Quick question here. Do you have any experience with programming or working with shaders in either Unity or Unreal?
Yeah, I have like programming. You mean HLS, GL?
But just as a follow-up question, do you have maybe any examples of, for example, some tips and tricks when it comes to profiling shaders, or like getting into the nits and grits of what is being actually, how the pipeline works when it comes to profiling them and optimizing them, function by function? Have you encountered any cool tools, be it render doc or anything other that is useful?
More like in-house stuff, like in the in the Unreal you have like instruction when you're writing new shaders, and if you like keep instruction low, it is much more optimized for the rendering. And like with the more like a universal stuff, you have like if you have like a translucent texture, translucent shaders, something like that, you have you have to very optimize that because it's very expensive for it. And also, if you have like even opaque shaders, if you have like alpha channel cut out, for example, in the grasses, there is like it can be very expensive if you like don't make cut out because like if you have like a big plane and there is like a mini texture here. There is like a creation of the double pass. I lost overpass. Yeah, that is it. That's it. And you know, it's very like ocean topic. Yeah. Another one. Yeah.
Yeah, I have I want to know your thoughts on documentation when you're creating tools. Whether it's more, what in your opinion has more value? Documentation about tool features or documentation about tool processes? So either how you do a task or what do all the buttons do?
I think the most important thing is making documentation about using the stuff because in the long run you build a tool for someone to use it, and like this is like when we building games or software for somebody, you think of someone who will use it, and like you making steps of using tools as clear, as precise, to make that person understand why it is doing, what is doing in that way, what can make it in this way, and they understand without asking you why this is like this. Yeah. You know, easy to use, easy to master.
You cover the features kind of, you know, in a subtle way while just explaining the process.
Yeah, that's that, and I trying like even to like I have like some kind of like a software testing experience, so this is also important to like we come up with the user, in that case artist, to predict what they actually can also need without it. And this is also very tricky and also very important because you can make some features that is needed and also some additional things that they, if they use this tool, they, oh, I didn't think like I can do this with this, and this is like very saves time, something like that. Yeah.
For the students I'm mentoring that are coming into the games industry, would you recommend they start as artists and then study programming, or study programming and then art? Which do you think is the easier path?
To be honest, it's very depends on the person, because like you have some people who are really artistic minds and they look on the certain things in different way, and obviously they can't, they don't really like know how to, they could not how to like a program, because it's hard when you have like artistic mind and you like aren't in that space. So like I would say like this is very depends. But if someone like is very interested or in the artistic stuff and like in the procedural stuff, like this is good indicators for someone who could get to be like a technical art. When they like to automate stuff, like they get really bored with manual repetitive tasks, they could really go with the tech art and programming, but I must be but there is awareness to keep. They need to anyway have like a 3D experience. They must be like good with something, and on that place build everything else.
Sounds like you're saying start with the art first and 3D
yeah.
meshes, etc., and then look into the...
Yeah, I started like with the 3D as a 3D artist. I like learn how to model, texturing. I have and I always like wanted to put my assets into the engine. I didn't because it's like the additional stuff you can learn. You can see if there's any error with the shading, if engine interprets normals everything as intended, and tweak while you're working on it. And I lost the question. Sorry.
Artists to be programmers, or do you train programmers to be artists if they're still at the beginning of their career? That was.
Yeah, it really depends on the person. I really think if they like into art and into programming, and in that way, like I would really try to automate something or something like that, because it's this is like a truth. Like technical artists are. There's a small number of technical artists, and you know, the people need need that kind of work. Yeah, yeah.
They have been for about a decade now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To follow up that question, do you know many technical artists, and which side did they start on originally? Are there many technical artists that started as programmers and went to the technical art, or most of them are from the other side?
Okay, do I need any technical arts and how they started, yeah? Okay, I can mention like Simon Versace. He has like a very hard name to pronounce, like myself, of course. And he was like a student in the I totally forgot which school, but he was like a 3D student, and he was when he finishing his study, he decided to make his final work on the Houdini. So he started learning Houdini software. And Houdini is very great for the technical artists. You can do sorts of amazing stuff with it, not only VFXs. And he make himself very big with some procedural procedural tools like procedural cables, etc., etc. And he's now working with the SideFX. So, you know, something like that. Any other questions?
So thank you, Maciek.